You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K25. It's myself, Mooncey, alongside me, as always, the three-time NBA champion. Nice and early for Mr. BJ Armstrong because this season we're on a bit of a new schedule. You know, we've been doing this
Oh,
show, what, 3, 4 years now? And we've been working on BJ's time. And at some point, something has to give. And unfortunately, I still live in the UK. Not unfortunately, but the time zone is an issue. So now we're going to be recording a show in the afternoon, my time, and in the morning, BJ's time. So instead of the episodes being first thing in the morning, they're now kind of in the afternoon, which puts us in a little bit of a dilemma because, for example, we're recording this now. And if you're listening to this and you've got notifications on, it's ahead of opening night of the season. But if you're in the routine of listening to the podcast first thing in the morning, you'll be listening to this after opening night of the season is finished. So I don't know whether to do a preview of the Celtics next game, but then you'll be listening to it and the game will be done. But what we are going to do is talk about all the money that was given out yesterday, BJ, because you love talking about the business of basketball, and some significant contracts were given out yesterday. Did any of them catch your eye?
no, nothing really caught my eye.
Okay,
That
well,
said,
a few of
oh
them caught my
wow,
eye.
yeah, but let's go through them.
Because a lot of the deals over the past week, the reports in the media were this team is not going to extend this player. For example, the guys on the Rockets, Green and Sengun, the Rockets aren't going to sign him to extensions. They're going to wait for a strict free agency. Or Aaron Gordon wants a max extension. They're not going to give it to him. And then Aaron Gordon signs a 3-year, $133 million contract extension with the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Denver Nuggets are a significantly expensive team. They're a repeat attacks team for 25-26, and they'll face significant penalties because of the new CBA. But Aaron Gordon is an essential part of this squad. What he offers to them defensively and I guess somewhat offensively with his chemistry with Nikola Jokic. BJ, were you surprised to see him get to that 133 million mark? He will be opting in to the next year of his contract before the extension kicks in, which does somewhat help Denver. But they couldn't afford to lose him, right? They already lost KCP year before they lost Bruce Brown, Jeff Green. They couldn't afford to risk Aaron Gordon going in free agency. So just how big of a deal is this for Denver?
Well, I'm not sure how big of a day it is for Denver. When you look at the team, if I were working within the organization, the first thing would, how do I have a player that is arguably, not arguably, he is one of the top 2 or 3 best players in the league. He's a championship caliber player all by himself. Wherever team you would put him on right
Jokic,
now.
not Aaron Gordon, just in case you were confused.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jokic. So now all of the pieces that they've, for whatever the reason may be, starting with Jeff Green and was it the
Bruce
the
Brown.
Brown camp, Bruce Brown, then Contavious Caldwell Pope, and then you're saying, okay, what's really going on here if you're allowing another starter? Okay. That would be 4 players in your top 8 that would all of a sudden leave on a championship caliber team. So, and this team, respectfully, again, when you have a team that wins, respectfully, you try to bring back this group to allow them to defend out of just, it's kind of one of those things that you say, what, this group has found
But
something. And now
I
all of
was
a
thinking
sudden,
about
and
this.
I'll say this real quick. And then Eric Gordon leaves or wasn't signed. Now suddenly your fan base starts going, what's really going on? So I think that was the case with them, especially only a 3-year deal.
I was thinking about this with the Celtics, season tipping off tonight. They have brought back the entire roster with the exception, I think, of O'Shea Brissett and Svi Mikhailuk. I don't remember the last time a team brought back 10, 11 guys from a championship team to give them the chance to run it back, like the entire squad.
Recently, I was in Las Vegas watching a basketball tournament, a high school basketball tournament. And the reason I was there was, I like to just watch the different levels of the game. I love to watch FIBA because that's a different game. I watch high school basketball, different game. College basketball season is about to start. And now you have pro and then G League and so forth and so on. It's kind of fascinating to watch now youth basketball because they're playing at a different pace. Okay. I think the Celtics have figured out the following. It used to be you play like 6, 7, 8 guys. But I think the president over there for the Celtics, because of his coaching background,
Hmm.
I think he's figured out the following. You got to have 10 to 12 guys that are in your rotation because of the way the game is played. The athletes are different. And I've said this when it first became a way of thinking. Pace and space. These players are playing much faster than the previous generation. With this pace, you have to incorporate more people into the style of play. And that, I think, Mo, is why the Celtics have said, we are going to be committed to a team because you have to have 10, I think now 12 guys who are ready to play at any given night because these guys can't play at this pace for an entire 82 games or 82 season. I just think it's really smart because if I were running a team now, I have to have 12 guys who can play every night. I'm committed to playing these 10. 10 guys are going to play for me. 12 guys, depending on matchups, game, maybe we have a fast start, slow start, but I'm going to be committed because, well, the game is so fast now that how can you ask these players to play extended minutes playing as fast as they're playing? So what's your president over there? I can't.
Brad
I'm gonna play.
Stevens.
Yeah, Brad Stevens. I think understands this because he's coached. You got to play a minimum of 10 guys. I think it's a mistake now to not play 10 guys every night. Every night I'm playing 10 guys. Most nights I'm playing 12. Okay. Even when you know how we were committed to saying, I'm gonna play 8 and then I'm gonna figure out the 5 that's gonna play the majority. No, you can't do that now because these guys are playing too fast. Even when the game slows down, I think you got to play a minimum of 10. But to me, I just think it's now, I say it all the time, but I think it's just now in my DNA. Depth matters. The Celtics understand that. And whether Porzingis is out or Al is out or whoever is out, they always have 10 guys ready to play, which it's not a disruptive thing. And then when you have everyone healthy, now it just becomes a matter of working your minutes in shorter spans. So I just think now we're at an age where the days are over where you're seeing guys just carry teams individually. I
Hmm.
think you have to have a minimum of 10. I think you got to have 12 that's ready to play, or at least your coaching staff has to have them ready to play. And if you don't have that, the way these guys play, I think probably that has something to do. I don't know this medically, something to do with why guys are breaking down because you just can't play this pace and play
Well, the
extended
Celtics
minutes
did
like you
stay
could.
relatively the most injury free
Yeah,
out of teams
I
in the
think,
East,
but
with the
you
exception of
you hear
Porzingis.
Mo, you've heard me say this for years now. You depth. You always, I know you always make fun of me when I say roster construction. I think Brad Stevens understands that. I
Yeah.
really do because I always try, when the players are speaking, I always listen to them. I may not agree, but I listen to them. But I do feel if I were playing if I were playing in this generation, I would ask the coaches to play me more than 32 minutes tonight. If I were a starter, I would say that's about my max.
Well, Tatum played 35 minutes. Derek White played 32 minutes. Jalen Brown played 33 minutes. Drew Holiday played 32 minutes. Al Horford played 26 minutes. Porzingis played 29 minutes
See that I mean
on average
I
last
don't know
season.
this, yeah, but that's about right for me. 32 minutes is about right for me. 35 is the max because you're the best player on the
Yeah,
team.
you're getting 22 minutes of Hauser, 22 minutes of Pritchard, 15, 16 minutes of Luke Cornett, 11, 12 minutes of O'Shea Brissett. Xavier Tillman's getting 13, 14 minutes. So
Yeah, I think that's about right. Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum clearly are the main guys, but everyone else, keep them playing at a pace that allows you to just keep the energy up, the level, the engagement. And so I think Brad Stevens has that about right. I think we can all take something away from that because I've been seeing that for years. I think the days are over, guys playing 37, 38 minutes. You just can't play this brand of basketball and play heavy minutes. So yeah, that seems about right to me.
Speaking of playing at a high pace, Jalen Green, an electric player who made history by becoming the first G League Ignite player in the NBA, has also made history by becoming the first NBA player to successfully negotiate a 2+1 rookie extension on a nine-figure deal. He signed a 3-year, $106 million contract with the Houston Rockets, and that 2+1 means that the first 2 years are guaranteed, and the third year is a player option. So he can opt in and take that money that's guaranteed, or he can opt out and become a free agent and potentially get more money. And whilst the Rockets were signing these checks, they also signed a check for one of my favorite players, Alperen Sengun, who received a 5-year, $185 million rookie extension to keep those two young guys over there in Houston. What are your thoughts on that, BJ?
My initial reaction, and again, I would love to, see, one player, just look at the deal coming off a rookie extension. And you say, well, the one kid gets 5 years and the other kid gets a 2+1, right? So that seems, I would love to hear, I'm sure it will come out, eventually, what's the thinking process? There's no right or wrong. Um, I thought Jalen Green, personally, I thought last year he was fantastic.
I
But
think that's
everyone,
a little recency bias because Sengun was great the whole year, and then towards the end of the year he got injured, and then Jalen Green, his play really stepped up. So that's kind of fresher in everyone's minds because he wasn't playing like that throughout the entire season. So you've signed two
yeah,
guys to
I'm
extensions,
not
but
comparing the
yeah,
two.
no,
I'm
no,
not comparing, yeah.
but what my logic or the way I think they're thinking about it is, well, we know Sengun is a sure thing and what he's going to bring. We don't know if Jalen Green's going to be able to perform how he did when Shangun's on the court because we're signing both of these guys to extensions. So we're going to put the safe bet on what's the safe bet, and then the 2+1. Let's see how he goes.
It could be the way of thinking. I'm just
And
going with
the
what I
final
saw.
year of Shangun's
Yeah.
deal is a player option as well.
Again, that could be. I have no idea. That's just my immediate reaction as a innocent bystander. I thought the young man Green played his way into a situation by the end of the year that said this kid could be a star player. I really did. I thought, down the stretch, he had them playing meaningful games. And Mo, when I see young people impacting winning as you head into the playoffs, when the games ramp up, the scouting reports get a little bit more detailed and the games mean more. And you have a young team that had every reason to kind of maybe, they didn't have all their guys. You mentioned one of their starting center was out. Suddenly they continue on their trajectory to start playing games that could have gotten them in the play in. So I thought he um warranted, you know, a 4 or 5 year deal. However, I don't know. I don't know the situation. Congratulations to Segun. I thought he was fantastic. I watched him play in preseason. He looks like he's ready to go. He looks great. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. They know their team. I don't know, but I can tell you this: I'm excited to watch this young group of players. My guy down there, coaching down there,
Ime Udoka. We spoke
Ime.
about him yesterday.
Yeah, Ime is, he's turned this thing around. He's clearly, it's not a fluke. Clearly, this is what he does. And now he has those young players playing at a very high level. So I'm excited for the Houston Rockets and their franchise. Now you have these guys locked in. I think they're into good contracts based on their
Yep.
performance.
The Sengun one, I believe,
So
is significantly lower than what the max he could have got was. So it's a good deal for the team.
Yeah, so I think this is about right. And well, now it's go time for the Houston Rockets. So now we're locked in and we know the direction of the franchise and now let's go. And then they
I'm
have
trying to see
other
them in the
young
playoffs
players.
this year. I'm trying to see them in the
Yeah.
playoffs this year. Another deal given out. Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks got a 5-year, $150 million rookie extension. He was one of the most improved players in the league last season, going from averaging 5.5 points to 14.9. Um, oh no, 16. He had 16, yeah. So he went from 5 points a game to 16 points a game, the second largest increase amongst players to play 50 games, aside from Cam Thomas of the Nets, who did not receive an extension. I think this deal, a lot of people were shocked that he got 5 years, 150 million, right? 30 million a year. A lot of people were surprised by that, but I think also a lot of people haven't really watched him play, or they haven't watched a lot of the Hawks because they were kind of just a very mid team. I think this is a very good deal for Atlanta, and I'm really excited to see the future of Jaden Johnson because I think he could become a really solid number two behind Trae Young over there in the A.
Well, Mo, I always place value on winning. And you read off some really good stats. Those are terrific stats. However, the Atlanta Hawks franchise for the last 2 or 3 years, since that
Conference
conference
finals
finals,
run. Yeah.
it's I
I
have a
think they
question mark.
I think they
So,
messed up by getting DeJounte Murray to play next to Trae Young. Because you saw even
okay,
DeJounte today is talking about, well, the Hawks just put me in the corner. That's not really how I play. So, and the team chemistry just clearly wasn't there.
I've said it with the Atlanta Hawks. Then I'll say it now. I'm not worried. When you start looking at stats, you bypass why you play. You look at the team. This team is defensively okay. If we want to, I know this is early in the season. If stats matters to all of the people for whatever reason when you're playing fantasy basketball or you're doing whatever it is you're doing about the game. When you are building a team and you start talking about winning, and we just talked about the Houston Rockets. When you start when you start seeing young players contribute to winning, then you grab my attention. I don't care how many points. Who said that points is the only way to contribute to winning? Okay. That to me is the downside of all of these analytics and stats and all the things that we're doing. Who contributes to the bottom line? The Atlanta Hawks have a major problem. They can't defend, especially on the perimeter.
But it starts at the head of the snake with Trae Young.
When you start defending, you give yourself a chance to compete. So all of these stats and paying players who are not contributing to your bottom line, then I always get concerned. Deontay Murray can defend. Okay. Now, that's one thing. You can argue whether that fits with him and Trae Young or whatever the case may be. The bottom line is he can defend. So we'll see how this turns out. I always get concerned when I start seeing players get rewarded for potential. No, just you perform. It's a simple formula. You perform, we take care of our people who get the job done. As in the Star Wars term, don't try, just do it. Do it.
Do
Don't
or do
try.
not. There is no
Yeah,
try.
yeah, there you go. Now you're talking my language. So I'm happy for the young man. Congratulations. However, now who are we going to blame if it doesn't work now? Because defensively, I don't see how this team has improved. And you have to be able to defend on the perimeter. And I'm concerned, but we'll see. This is a new year, and so we'll see how it plays out.
A very good deal that the Dallas Mavericks pulled off was Jaden Hardy getting 3 years, 18 million. Um, I think he contributed well to what they did last season, and I think he'll be a big part of what they do now, especially coming off the bench, giving them that depth this season for 3 years, 18 million. That's a pretty good deal in the current NBA climate. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially when Luka and Kyrie are going to get the majority of the minutes. I mean, that's just it is what it is. So I think this is just a commitment to saying we know We know you're probably in a situation where you're not going to play a lot. It allows them to have him there, continue to develop. But more importantly, you have him at a number that you potentially could move or put into another deal. So I think it makes good business sense all the way around. But what this signals to me is that Luka and Kyrie are here. They're here. There's nothing you can do as far as playing. What are you going to go in and say you need more minutes? You can't demand more minutes. Hey,
Hey,
coach, I think I should be playing. Where? You know what I mean? So it's like kind of one of those things where you just have to be patient. And this was a signal to say, hey, we like you, we want you here. However, if you want a little security with this job currently in your situation, here it is. And I think it was a good move all the way around.
well, a deal I think you will like is the Orlando Magic giving Jalen Suggs a 5-year, $150.5 million extension. Um, NBA All Defensive Team already in his career. He's a very promising part of what they're building down there in Orlando, who do have high expectations. They got to the playoffs last season. They'll be hoping to maybe even progress out of the first round this year. And I'm hoping to hear that Orlando Magic theme song a whole bunch of times as the season goes on. But that's a great deal for Orlando because his first season in the league it was a little bit iffy, but they kind of figured out their guard rotation because they had a lot of guys. They had Fultz, they had Cole Anthony, they had Suggs, all vying for minutes in the same spot. But now I think with this extension, things and the pecking order are really solidified in as to the direction they're going in.
Here is a situation in comparison to the Atlanta Hawks situation. A young man comes in, he contributes to their bottom line. Not only does he contribute to the bottom line, I think he's like a second team all defensive player, right?
Yeah, all defensive team. Yeah,
Now, to me, Mo, that signals to your culture of what you're trying to do. You perform, we commit. That to me is a bravo signage because you're signaling to everyone this is how it should be done. When our young we talk about development, we talk about contribution, we talk about winning. A young man now came into a situation where it was a competitive environment. I mean, there were Cole Anthony is a really good player. Then you have Markel Fultz, the former number one pick in the draft.
hmm
And Suggs figures out how to contribute to winning with
hmm
those guys all on the team. That to me is what I'm looking for. So, bravo to the Orlando Magic. Their future is bright. I think they are ahead of schedule, Mo, based
hmm
on what they did last year. And it always starts on the defensive end. So, this to me has the potential to be a really good signing because he's going to improve as a player. He's going to get better on the offensive end. He's currently an all defensive player. And I would even say this, Mo, like your guy, Marcus Smart, contributes on the defensive end. This kid Suggs look like he can be a contributor. He looks like a guy that could win Defensive Player of the Year. He's committed to that end of the floor. I love it. I just love to reward young players who contribute to winning because
Absolutely.
that to me is what it's all about. So bravo to the Orlando Magic, and I'm really looking forward to this team because I think they are poised now to take even another step.
Yeah, well, speaking of contributing to winning, the Warriors had two guys who contributed to them winning a championship in 2022. That's Kuminga and Moody. Now, Moody got a 3-year, $39 million extension, but they haven't agreed to an extension with Jonathan Kuminga. What does this tell you about, the Warriors and the direction they're going to go in? Because they gave a bunch of money to Jordan Poole, they gave a bunch of money to Wiggins and a lot of the other guys from that championship team. But I think Kuminga wants the max extension, and the Warriors are not willing to give it to him.
This is what this signals to me. Moody and Kuminga were both on the team. I don't know if they were in the rotation.
Like throughout the
Okay.
season, they were talking about the finals is a little different, but
Okay. Well, again, I'm not sure what the numbers. You can look up the numbers while I'm talking here. I'm not sure what their contribution was as far as being in the rotation during the course of that year, as far as being heavily relied on when they won the championship. Both showed flashes, and I'm a fan of both players. However, last year
Kuminga played 17 minutes a night, and Moses Moody played 12 minutes a night.
yeah, and okay.
And then
So
in the playoffs, it went down to 8, 9 minutes apiece.
yeah, see that to me signals that
But they were
they're
both
still in
19 years old when they were in the
that signals
playoffs.
to me that they were in the developmental stage, right?
Yeah.
They were developing, figuring it out. And what a great experience for these young players to be around a championship caliber team. Now, but what it also signals to me is that the coaching staff wasn't ready to commit to them to carrying a load that's necessary to warrant the type of money that you're discussing. You said a max player. Wait a minute, hold on. When you're a max player, that's a different conversation. Okay. Now, I'm sure there was a number with the Warriors that they felt comfortable with Kuminga. And I'm sure Kuminga is saying, well, if I would have played more minutes, I would warrant those. That's
Yeah.
the
Well, you've seen him jump
okay.
from 9 points a game up to now 16 points a game. And he had to have that press conference where he had to publicly call out Steve Kerr for not giving him enough minutes. And that's
Okay.
when you really saw the improvement in his play the last season.
So I think what you're seeing here is a player saying, hey, if I play more, I'll put up those numbers. And then the organization is saying, or the coaching staff is saying, there's something here that's not that they don't agree with, that he's not doing, that would warrant him to play that many minutes. That's
Hmm.
just the bottom line, or whatever that is. I think Kuminga is a terrific talent. He's got to be one of the best athletes currently now in the NBA with his size and strength. And this kid, Moody, looks like he could be a terrific player. Unfortunately, he's playing behind Steph Curry. What can you do? I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I mean, he plays a different position, but I hear what you're saying.
again, this is, you hear me say this, Steph Curry, if you put Steph Curry at the one and just let him be the one, then you're not utilizing his true talent.
Yeah.
So Steph Curry is not a one. He's not a two. He's some type of hybrid, but you can't allow him to be a initiator of the offense. So he's playing behind Moody. Those are Moody. I'm sure in his heart of heart feels that he should probably be playing more minutes. But how is he going to play more minutes when Steph Curry's there? They
Yeah, I
just
agree.
got what they just got the kid with Milton or
Shake Melton, DeAnthony Melton.
Deontay Melton, yeah, who's probably going to do some type of hybrid defensive thing so Steph Curry can move around, a la Klay Thompson. So this is going to be fascinating to watch. I think Moody has probably accepted the role that has been assigned for him right now at this stage of his career, and where the other kid feels, and maybe he's right. Who knows? I don't know. But what I do know is that this kid is a terrific talent. And I am sure, Mo, if you and I were coaching him, he would average 20 points a night for us.
Hell yeah.
Now, again, the Warriors have won a championship with him on the team, so clearly they know something. And I mean, what more can you ask him to do? He looks like he's ready to average 20 a night. He looks like he's ready to be a starter to me. But again, I'm just watching. I don't know. I'm not at practice. I'm not at the weightlifting set. I don't know him like that. But
Yeah.
what I do know is he's a terrific talent. And if you told me I had Kuminga on my team, I'd figure out how to get him 28 to 32 minutes a night.
Hell
That's
yeah.
that's me though.
Hell
But
yeah.
again, I don't know. Now, he looks like a player of Mo. That might be a max talent. Now, that's all I can say. And but Coach Kerr, those guys know him better. But I love what I see, Mo. I love what I
Okay.
see.
Okay. So before we end the show, real quick, BJ, Celtics Knicks tonight. Who you got winning that?
I got the Knicks winning this one tonight. But you know what I want to see from the Celtics. This is all I want to see because this is a very hard game to win. You
I
get
just
your
want to see Al Horford
rings.
finally getting his ring. I don't care about anything else that
Yeah,
happens today.
you get your ring and you get all the pats on the back and then you got to take the photo for the gram. You know all the stuff you guys do now. Well, you got to take the photo and you got to smile at the camera and then you got to show it to your significant other in the stand and then everybody's got to come out after the game to get on the court and you know all the stuff you got to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we get done with all that, all right, da 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 da. And then, the owners got to come out and they got to do some unique thing with the ring. It's probably opens up in 10 different ways now. And maybe there's a little, there's a mechanism in there that only they're the first one to do, all the stuff we got to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, when we get done with all of that, I want to see if the Celtics can just show me one thing. Minus all of this nonsense and distractions, can they finally get back to playing basketball? Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be enough to win because there's going to be a lot of distractions. This isn't the normal routine. You're going to have an extended
Pre-game. They're starting a pre-game
pregame.
thing at like 4:30 in the afternoon Boston time.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah. Then
crazy.
everyone's going to be there and the tickets, I got to be there to take the pictures because I was at the game. So this game, this is a watch game, but I want to just see someplace during the course of this game the following. Are they going to get back to playing basketball? And if they just do it for a quarter, they won the game for me because that
Okay.
lets me know that they are still focused and that the game matters. However, if they come out and they just, hey, we got our ring, the game really doesn't matter, we'll get to it tomorrow, then I'm going to be concerned.
I
I
hear
just
it.
want to see them fight at some point and say, you know what? This was great. All of my family members were there. They messed up my routine because that's how it is. It's kind of like playing the closeout game. You come to the arena and you look up and you see all of
Yep.
the confetti. It messes up the game. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm partial to human behavior. You get a pass because it's not normal. But I just want to see, can you take 5 minutes and say, hey guys, let's get back to competing?
I
No,
think that Joe Mazzulla as a coach says coded into his DNA. He doesn't care about any of the showboating or fancy stuff. He's going to be like, guys, come on.
that's fair.
Let's win.
But he's not playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Yeah. But the
that's
other
fair.
game,
He can say all that. He can say all that, but he's not playing.
the
I
other
want to see what
game,
those guys and the players are going to do.
Timberwolves Lakers out west. Who's winning
Timberwolves.
that? Oh, you don't think Bronny James gonna?
I'm just I
I want to see Anti Edwards guarding Bronny because that would just be fun. You know what I mean? Just
yeah
lock him up.
I don't want to. When I was a young player coming into the league, right? Everyone talks about the good times. My first couple years, there were some players I just wasn't equipped to guard. I wasn't equipped to play against. Okay. As you get older in this league, you begin to learn scouting reports and you get to a point where you can play against the elite players. Now, you can throw him out there versus Anthony Edwards, but that's a mismatch.
Yep.
That's a mismatch. So why put my job as a teammate, my job as a coach is to put my player in a situation, where he can succeed. Now, if Bronny does play tonight, let's let him play against Dillingham, for instance, another rookie.
Yeah.
Let's put him in a position to where he can succeed. Let's not put him in a situation where, hey, you have Anthony Edwards and they go ISO. That's not a good introduction to the NBA.
Yeah, that would be. But that's what I want to see. But they
Yeah,
won't do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
what I want to see.
No, put LeBron James in that situation. Put your veterans who are capable of handling that. Now, do I think Bronny will eventually be able to handle that? Yes, I do. Because I think he's a good little athlete, strong little athlete. Okay. He's not 6'6" or something. He's more like my height. But I think he's a good little athlete. I think eventually he'll figure out what he can do and what he can't do versus certain players in the league. But allow him to go on that learning curve. So, but I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are the better team. I think Julius Randle is a terrific addition.
Yep. Yep.
DiVincenzo. I really like their team. I like their team a little more than I did last year, and they were
Wow.
really good. I
Wow.
do. I like their team. I do
Okay.
because they bring that edge. They have an edge now. DiVincenzo plays with an edge, and Julius Randle plays with an edge. Now, the reason I really like Julius Randle with this group is because I think it helps Rudy Gobert more than anyone. Because Rudy Gobert now can play in the spots that he is most comfortable. He can be in the dunker spot. Offensively, he doesn't have to, space the floor, and he can just screen and roll. And Julius Randle can, without question, he can score in bunches when Anthony Edwards is not on the floor. So
Yeah.
I think this has a chance to be a good team. I think it's going to take some
Okay.
games for them to figure it out. But I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to go the New York Knicks because I think the Knicks are focused right now. The Knicks know they have to get off to an early start because if they don't get off to an early start, I don't think
I'm
they
going
can.
Celtics and Lakers. How about that?
Well, of course you are. Of course you are. You have to go.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It don't matter. It don't matter because
It
there's
doesn't
only one
exactly.
team that's raising banner 18 tonight, and that's the Boston Celtics. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get it. We're going to be here every day. We'll be back tomorrow breaking it down and looking ahead to the rest of the NBA season. BJ, appreciate you as always. And until next time, get buckets.